Welcome to another hardcore Minecraft video, where if I die, the world gets deleted forever. But what if I started a new hardcore world and had to live as a tree? Today's challenge is called the Tree Spirit Challenge. It's called that because you have to play the game without ever leaving your tree. As a tree spirit, the first thing you need to do is pick a tree. It can be any type or size, but I suggest one with lots of logs. Leave the bottom log, but punch the rest of the tree down and collect everything. Pick up every sapling, stick, and apple that fell from the tree. Seriously. And don't take anything from a tree that isn't the tree you selected. After you have finished doing that, you must stand on the last remaining log. This is the heart of your tree, and if it gets destroyed, then the challenge is failed. You can remove any surrounding trees that might be in your way, but just remember to throw away everything you get from them. For everyone's sake, I'll just cover the important stuff here. This is my life now. I am this tree. Trees cannot move, but they can grow, and you are allowed to plant the saplings of your heart tree. They are the seeds of your tree, after all. I suggest making a bulb to hide in for the first night. If you are lucky, creepers will not spawn. We are allowed to walk on any log that is directly attached to our tree's heart log. Do not use planks from your logs, those won't count. You can step off the logs briefly, but the rules say you must be close enough to at least reach out and touch your tree. Otherwise, it's a failed run. Just because you're a tree doesn't mean you can't dig. Grow your new roots and look for water while waiting for those saplings you planted to grow. Using some of my logs to craft tools and things will be fine now that I have saplings growing outside. The saplings likely won't grow until tomorrow. With limited resources, the challenge restricts my movement drastically, and because it is already nighttime, I am forced to bury myself in order to stay safe. By now, you might be thinking I'm a coward because I'm able to craft weapons and mobs really aren't all that tough. And you would be 100% right, but if a creeper or something destroyed the heart log, then the challenge would be over. Considering how past attempts have gone, hiding is necessary. First, we need to increase our wood production, and the best way to do this is by laying down a line of logs before planting saplings along the edge like this. Doing it this way will keep your saplings replenished. If you ever do run low, just space the trees out a little. It would be nice if a sheep or two wandered over here close to me. Having no bed does make things difficult at the start of this challenge. Mobs will only spawn so close to you though, so if I manage to mine far enough away from the heart log, then the creepers won't spawn here. Then again, a thunderstorm could start any moment and ruin that plan, so it's best to grow this tree as fast as possible. There isn't a right or wrong way to grow the tree. As long as every log connects to the heart log, then you can pretty much stack the logs any way you'd like, so get creative. Yay, mining! This challenge has been on my mind for a really long time. I shelved the idea because it initially seemed too hard. Not because of this though. No, the problem is I am horrible at building. The idea of trying to make a natural looking tree in Minecraft is freaking intimidating. Now there is no rule that says you can't just grow a tree on top of a tree on top of a tree, so on. But you all know I wouldn't be satisfied with that alone at all. This time the challenge isn't just to survive. Oh sweet beautiful iron. Now I can craft a better pick and hopefully a water bucket as well. It can be very tempting to craft an iron axe as soon as possible. Iron is scarce right now. People are going to bash on me in the comment section for this, but I suggest you use the copper. No, it's not as fast, but you must admit it's nice to have when there isn't much iron. Just gonna plant a few more sapling here, and now I need to go make use of this iron right away. Now we just need to get down to the deep slate in order to find diamonds. There just happened to be a large cave directly in my path. Surprisingly, void of any hostile mobs too. Maybe we didn't reach deep slate this time, but we did find more iron. On any normal Minecraft playthrough, I'd already have diamond tools, but being confined to this single tree has actually slowed my progression. I need to address something. In Minecraft, there is a mechanic that increases the difficulty of mob spawns the longer you stay in one location. Which means, if we do not get diamond gear and a safe spot to grow food really soon, then we are going to be surrounded by decked out enemies. I'm talking hordes of zombies and skeletons wearing enchanted armor while carrying dangerous weapons. Keep them away from you, and keep them away from the heartlog. Several ideas have come to mind, but only one fits my plan. Since this tree will be very tall, the base needs to be wide. Every tree that has been harvested so far is being put to good use. Very little of it has been used for crafting. Most of what has been used was for mining. Make sure there is still room to plant your saplings. Probably should have known that a video about a tree growing might be a bit slow. No mining got done because I forgot I was AFK while cooking something in the air fryer. Honestly, this video isn't really about mining, so it's okay. The fact that no mobs have bothered me this entire time feels pretty suspicious. Like any moment, something terrible is going to happen. Look, it's not like I want mobs to come attack me, but I feel like this isn't very challenging right now. Okay, I shouldn't have said that. You can bring back the boring quietness now, Mojang. Somehow, I manage to always forget about these dang things. So much for working on the tree at night. I really thought that finishing the outside would allow me to speed up the building process, but sadly not. This is going to force me to mine at night, which also means using logs to mine even further. Remember, I have to build my roots also. That's why mining has been a little neglected. Finishing the base of the tree felt more important, but now it's looking pretty good. It doesn't look anything like a tree yet, but it's safe from most of the mobs. Looks like the wandering trader decided to visit us at the worst possible time, because it's raining and these phantoms are still around. At least, I finally got my monster hunter advancement, and it only took about 7 days. Resisting the urge to mine down for diamonds is extremely difficult for me right now. That's exactly what I'm doing though. Believe it or not, we need to be growing many more trees. The safest way to grow trees in this challenge is by growing them in boxes underneath the ground. Sure, you can grow them by your surface roots, but it's too risky. Having an underground tree garden will basically double my log output, therefore doubling my building and mining speed. At this point in the challenge, I really started to think about throwing in the towel. Not because it was too difficult or because it was too boring or anything like that. I started to worry about my ability to actually finish building this tree. I can't let that hold me back though. No challenge is too intimidating for the likes of Banclam. After getting enough logs to go mining, I continued extending the root system. Even managed to find myself some coal while doing so. Then found a bit of iron to replace what we have already used. Eventually, the elusive deep slate layer had been breached. Not that it matters, but I also skinned the logs so that they look more like roots. At long last, the search had finally come to an end. Sparkling like morning dew on the grass. The very first of my Tree Spirit Challenge diamonds. However, the small victory was short-lived, as half of them were lost to the lava. I did manage to find more though, so I continued mining hoping that the streak would continue. First, I finally crafted myself a diamond pick, then immediately found more diamonds. Be very careful where you place the logs down here. Any random lava source too close to your roots could cause some serious problems. Nothing is worth risking a fire that could reach the heart log. We aren't exactly rich, but this is more than enough for now. An axe is obviously the most important tool for this particular challenge. By now you all understand that a lot of log chopping and mining need to happen. So from this point on, I'm going to edit most of the clips from that out of the video. The only time you should see mining is when I'm getting something important like diamonds or gold. Or when something like this happens. It appears we have stumbled across a dungeon with a zombie spawner inside. This would have been so much cooler if it had been a skeleton spawner. Just imagine how much faster this challenge could go with access to all that bone meal. Now that I think about it, we could make a composter. Okay, let's head back to see what's in the dungeon chests. Behind door number 1, not much. And number 2, at least we got a golden apple. It's hard to disagree with certain other players who would like to see these dungeons change a little bit in the future. That would be a really good topic for people in the comments section. I could make a better farm, but zombies don't really do much for the challenge, so it's not really worth the extra effort. What do you guys think? Should Mojang revamp dungeons? Or were the trial chambers enough to satisfy you? As you can see, the underground tree growing area is complete. So our tree is about to start growing really fast. Tons of saplings got tossed into the composter so that I could bone meal these seeds and grow some wheat. Then, very carefully, I began to creep away from my spot. Not long into my journey, a few sheep had actually wandered close by. So I used the wheat to lead them back home. My original plan was to guide a few cows over. Having wool for a bed means I can finally sleep at night. That isn't bad, so I'll take it. And presto, we actually have a bed. The rules state that you can replace the heart log with another block, so I marked the heart log by placing a redstone block under it. The only blocks you can't use as your heart log are ones difficult to break. Blocks like obsidian that are impervious to explosive damage would be a good example of things not allowed. Now that those phantoms are gone, it's possible to work on the tree during the nighttime. All that needs to be done is to raise the edges up just a little more so the mobs can't get to us. I'm starting to close the rim a little so that the trunk gradually gets thinner as we go up. Each time the next layer has to be just a little bit taller to avoid making a cone shape. Make sure the first layer is 2 or 3 blocks tall. Whee! Also, avoided making a perfect circle because I just didn't want a very round tree. The more the tree flows upward, then the more natural it will feel. If it goes directly up in a straight line, then it will look terrible, like some kind of giant stick. Applying these methods make me feel better about everything going forward. The same sentence continued crossing my mind the entire time. Be as consistently inconsistent as humanly possible. Plenty of large oaks surround my hometown, so I am very familiar with the shape of them. Walking around the base of the tree outside is risky, so I carved out another door. This will allow me to work on the surface roots a bit more and explore in other directions. Name another challenge where moving around is this expensive. Go ahead, I'm sure you guys can actually think of one too. Several more blocks had been placed than expected, and before I knew it, night had come, along with a couple of curious bovine. Getting them both into the base was easy enough with the wheat in hand. I swear, their growling bellies even drowned out the constant moves. The only reason we really need these cows is for the leather so we can craft books. No matter what, you always need at least one lectern. The stump stands gloriously, but it is still not a tree. The urge to keep rising up is quickly stifled by the need to flesh out the base of the tree even more. Also, my cows need a designated area. Swinging an axe around villagers and iron golems is an absolute no-no. The best place I can imagine placing them is in their own route located in the corner. Initially, this is where the villagers were going to go, but the cows are going to need grass so they can eat, and don't forget, we can't just walk around anywhere we want. The grass will need to wait until later though. Having the cows in their own cozy spot will do just fine for now. I also decided to cram the sheep in there too. After harvesting the trees and replanting, I set out to attempt the recruitment of a few unwilling villagers living in the town neighboring my tree. Hopefully we can grab a carrot or some potatoes when we get there too. Finally, I can barely see the village path right over there. Sadly, a trip back home was required due to nightfall coming so soon. Apparently, I forgot all about what I was doing and started working on the tree again. That's not really a bad thing, but it sure is funny to discover while I'm editing this footage. In my defense, there isn't a particular reason we need to get villagers right now, and the tree is in fact more important. As for the shape of the bottom, it is just about where I want it to be. Towering up each time is taking too long, so I'm going to install a big ladder. Doing things like this in hardcore always makes me extremely nervous. Did I mention I'm afraid of heights? There used to be a bug where you could possibly desync and fall off an edge even if you are sneaking. Mojang has since removed this bug, but my fear persists. The tree is getting tall enough that mobs could spawn on the ledge up here unless we place some torches down to keep these blocks lit. Also, the trunk was starting to form a cone, so it's time to begin going up. From time to time, I will use FreeCam to look at the progress. When doing that, I consider what can be changed and how I should go forward. Grow, chop, climb, place, repeat. The repetitive and laborious task had worn through my diamonds, forcing me to go mining in the depths for even more. This was likely the moment that it dawned on me how useful enchantments would be. If only my tools had unbreaking and mending, then I might not even have to risk the run like this. The cave I found just so happened to be lit really well by this lava pool. Once that lava pool was no longer useful, it became my obsidian. The main reason I want this is for an enchanting table. You just know I have to build a nether portal and see what's on the other side though. If I can go to the nether, then I really should. Sort of an unspoken rule of the channel. Why does this keep happening? Guys, I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. I have lost count how many times my portal has spawned on a nether fortress. As a log person, that's about all I can handle of this place. A trail of logs might get you pretty far in the overworld, but it's just a disaster waiting to happen in the nether. Could you imagine being stranded on a burning root hanging over a lava lake? Talk about killing your spirit. Get it? 'Cause tree spirit, and you fall in lava and die. Now would be a great time to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It helps a ton and I really appreciate it. Seriously, thank you. Usually, making an enchantment table is something I skip due to villager trading. Doing this challenge has reminded me how nice it can be to play Minecraft a little slower. Players like myself will often rush through the game. Challenges like this force us to slow down and smell the roses. Enjoy the early game, so that there is plenty to look forward to. We have waited long enough for villagers though, so I better plant some crops. Also, going to need more beds, so the animal section must be expanded. The poor creatures have been cramped in this tiny root without room to graze for a while now. Grass already started spreading from the blocks outside the root. It's really nice when things like that conveniently work out. The tree actually looks more like an anthill right now. I don't want to get too distracted by other things and forget to keep working on the tree. Once the villagers are secured, the tree should become my main focus. Mojang has made catching these guys really easy now too, and I love them for it. We all know the villagers sit in boats, but being able to use leads on boats is amazing. On top of that, leads are easier to craft now, because you don't even need slime balls. Having the ability to do this back when your boats could drift away would have been really nice too. Not gonna lie, keeping this boat on top of the logs was one heck of a challenge all by itself. This saves so much time and iron on rails though, it makes me so happy. Welcome to your new home, villagers. Follow me on Twitter. To celebrate the successful capture of villagers, a gold block is crafted to replace the heart log. The first one needs to be a Fletcher, so we can sell sticks. It's also nice to have the bow and arrows. The second one needs to be a farmer, so we can sell melons. This allows me to take advantage of the resources that are most abundant here. Going up and down the ladder makes me a bit nervous, so I'm covering it in leaf blocks to make the trip a bit safer. Have some floor bread for your hard work, sir. I'm not going to optimize trades or anything like that. The only thing I want is some decent tools. Something tells me that I'm going to need them to finish this project. This dude was making me way too nervous, so he had to go. If ignored, he would have gotten in my way eventually and started some trouble. Once you have a farmer and some crops, you really don't need to worry about villager breeding anymore. Just make sure there's enough beds. You can see I've placed logs under the water here. I really wanted to commit to staying on the logs at all times. Fun fact, there is also a water spirit challenge that forces you to stay in water. Let me know if you want to see that one too. That challenge would be a lot more difficult than this one for sure. As you can see, a blasting furnace and smithing table were placed among the villagers. With villager trades, replacing diamond tools becomes extremely easy. Call me out if you want to, but I did sneak back into the nether to grab a few things that I thought might look cool. I didn't get much, and it was all very close to the nether fortress. The trades got maxed out as fast as possible, and the enchantments included with the tools were pretty amazing. Even so, there is footage of me going down to mine for diamonds again. If I remember correctly, it's because the villager never got an axe trade, which means it's a really good thing that I built this enchanting table. Can't get lucky every time, I suppose, but at least we can buy good diamond armor now. Any chance of mobs getting into this tree and through my defenses now are slim to none. I could grab logs and spread my roots pretty much anywhere I want to now. But the tree still isn't finished yet. This challenge was never about getting good armor and enchantments. It's not about building a redstone machine or surviving an extremely harsh environment. The whole idea is to be a tree, or a spirit within a tree. So it's inevitable. No amount of procrastination, so I'm going to try just one more time to get decent enchantments on an axe before I finish. Expecting a good enchantment from a table with no bookshelves by it is obviously too much to ask, so I quickly whipped up a few of them. As a backup plan, I also crafted a lectern. If we don't at least get something good, then I'll brute force it. After buying some books from another villager, the enchantarium was complete. Tested some books to see what popped out first, then dragged some old tools through it, which turned out to be a good idea. Finishing the table was well worth it in my opinion. I should use this thing more often. My confidence was increased a lot after watching a few tutorial videos by creators who are really good at this kind of stuff, and have been doing it for many years. The biggest reason I'm not going to say any names is so that if this thing looks terrible when I'm done, then nobody's name is getting dragged through the mud. As stated earlier, my strategy was to be as inconsistent as possible, building the blocks out in a general direction, never being precise. This part of the challenge wasn't just the most difficult for me artistically, but also mentally. Did I mention that I'm afraid of heights? My mind continued to bounce back and forth between not falling to my death and making the branches a little squiggly. Without free cam to help check my progress, this really would have been impossible. Describing my creative process is tough, so please forgive me. Climbing trees was a big activity for me as a kid, so most of the tree was built by feel, reaching into my mind and trying to remember how the branches actually grew from the tree. Even tougher is the leafy bits. I wanted to get the leaves further from the branches, but it's really dangerous to do that without some scaffolding or something. Keeping the leaf blocks spread out makes the groups look a lot better. More poofy, less dense. These are some of those tips that came from the vids I watched. Of course, I've done this on a smaller scale before, just a few small trees that were a little bigger and looked a little better than the regular Minecraft trees. Doing something on this scale was really starting to feel like it would never end. Just when you think the task at hand is too much for you to handle, the world reminds you that things can actually get much worse. It is a lot of fun to travel back and forth inside the tree branches though, I'll admit. By this point, a lot of food was getting turned into bone meal. Waiting for trees to grow just to harvest leaves was absolutely out of the question. Tons of wheat and seeds have been stored around here, so there was actually plenty to keep me going. Never complain about how boring life can be at times. We need calm moments to relax and wind down so that we are prepared for what life has to throw at us next. If you keep a clear mind, then you will manage to prepare for anything you might face. That is a really good way to learn and grow if you ask me. Yo, this iron golem got himself a freaking hot tub. The thunderstorm rolling through made me want to get this tree done even faster. There's no point in slapping down blocks just to hate what I've made when it's finished though. So every single block placed had a lot of thought put into it. Big branches turned into smaller branches, which turned into even smaller branches. I tried to keep every branch on an angle as often as possible so they were never too straight. The results left me feeling mixed about what I was doing with my time. Doubt wasn't about to stop me here though. The tree was so close to finished, and every step forward made it look just a little bit better. After making sure plenty of branches were hanging low to balance out the ones springing up, that's when the tree should start to look a lot more convincing. And because I don't have scaffolding, getting a branch to arc back down is basically impossible without building log bridges. That's the last time I'll complain about not having scaffolding. I really should have tried to get bamboo during the challenge. If anyone out there is thinking about starting this challenge, I suggest the jungle biome so you have plenty of logs and have easy access to bamboo for scaffolding. Remember that any tree type can be selected for this challenge, so there are quite a few possibilities for this challenge to get even crazier. Let me know what tree type you want to see this challenge paired with in the comments section below. It's always fun to see what you all come up with. At long last, the tree is finished, and I hope it at least looks decent. This makes me want to continue improving my trees and see what I can do without the restrictions I've imposed on myself. You are all amazing, and I appreciate you watching my video. I'll see you all next time, and until then, stay golden.